The Toyota Prius is the poster child of the hybrid car. If you ask your average person to name the first hybrid car they can think of, they would almost certainly say the Toyota Prius. But does being a household name make the Prius the best of its kind? After all, there's all sorts of rivals now, including the likes of the Hyundai Ioniq and Kia Niro hybrids, not to mention all sorts of plug-in hybrids and electric cars now flooding the market. Still, with official economy of more than 80 mpg and CO2 emissions to thrill company car users, the Prius still has a lot going for it on paper. It's got a lot going for it in the real world too. Our colleagues at Auto Express have tested the Prius really extensively, and they managed to get a real world economy figure of about 58 mpg out of the Prius, which is really impressive and is notably better than they managed in the Hyundai Ioniq hybrid as well. However, it is worth pointing out that neither the Prius nor the Hyundai have had free access to the London congestion zone since February 2018. Of course, this full hybrid powertrain doesn't need plugging in. The batteries are charged up by the car's regenerative braking system, and a survey of thousands of Toyota hybrid owners suggests that you should spend around half of your time on electric power alone. If you spend a lot of time in town or in stop-start traffic, I think that really would be the case actually, because the electric motor does do pretty much all the hard work up to about 20 miles an hour, as long as you don't accelerate very hard. If you spend a lot of time on the motorway or on faster roads, you're going to spend a lot less time in electric mode by the very nature of these hybrid powertrains. But for all that, I think all the testing that we've done proves that you're going to see economy comparable to the best diesel rivals, regardless of how you drive the Prius, and that's really what most people are after. So not only are you getting a car that's really economical, but it's really nice to drive as well actually, the Prius. It's very quiet, that electric motor and the petrol engine interact really smoothly together, the ride's really comfortable, the steering's nice and light and precise. It's far from exciting, but it's just very pleasant and relaxing. The only thing that lets it down is this CVT automatic gearbox, which is quite prone to letting the 1.8 petrol engine sort of rev out way higher than it needs to. Only ever really when you're accelerating hard, so it's not going to be a big problem for most people. The interior of the Prius looks as radical as the outside of it too, with some interesting swooping lines and bold colour contrasts. There's also a really nice blend of materials and a good sense of build quality as well. Granted, this car does look perhaps a bit Frisian with its very strong black and white contrast, but I actually prefer that to the unrelieved grey of a lot of rivals, and regardless, it feels really comfortable and airy and light in here, which is really nice. Equipment is really good too, so even the basic Prius, you get a reversing camera, climate control and LED headlights. However, a lot of buyers are probably going to prefer the Business Edition Plus, which adds heated seats, head-up display, front and rear parking sensors and sat-nav. You also get this 7-inch touchscreen as standard across the range, but sat-nav isn't standard on lower trims, and even more of a frustration is that you can't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto even as an option. And it would be a very welcome option given that it would allow you to override the fairly old-fashioned feeling software on the Toyota system. Still, while the touchscreen might let it down, there's loads of room in the Prius for passengers in the back, and the big hatchback opening and spacious boot will make life easy for family users and airport taxi drivers alike. Such is the success of the Prius that it's one of the most recognisable cars in the world, and it's not hard to see why, given that it was groundbreaking at launch and it still makes a really persuasive case for itself. Okay, so the Toyota does look a bit expensive next to the Hyundai Ioniq hybrid, but the Toyota is a better place to sit, it's really nice to drive, it looks a lot more exciting than the Ioniq, and it's usefully more economical in the real world as well. So if you are looking for a really spacious and really efficient family hatchback, then you should definitely investigate the Toyota Prius. It does make a lot of sense to a lot of people. Just make sure that a pure electric alternative like the Nissan Leaf, or indeed a plug-in hybrid, which you can get in the Prius itself, wouldn't make more sense for you in terms of covering all of your motoring needs with better benefits to the environment and bigger cost savings to you.